What's going on, Dominators? Eldar here. Did you know that the movie John Wick is actually loaded with so many NLP methods and philosophies and things of that sort? Let me share with you this clip real quick. Watch this.
My father used to say, how you do anything is how you do everything. Called it the first and the last rule of life.
Isn't that cool? Did you catch it? Did you see what they did? So, watching this movie again and again and again, I realize how many NLP mentions there are in this movie, which is really, really cool because I really like NLP. I think there's a lot of great things coming from the NLP world. And what stuck for me the most in this particular clip that I showed you is how they built also the story around it, which is another thing from the NLP world. And as you can see, the villain is actually talking about his dad teaching him that the way you do one thing or the way you do everything, is the way you're going to do other things the same, right? So the way you do one thing is the way you're going to do everything. That's the NLP statement. Now, let's take this and break it down to our everyday life, to our business, to our employees, to our significant other. Just look at people around you and also look at yourself and really dive deep into this statement. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. That means that if you invest the time to get your coffee perfect, exactly as you like it, and if for some reason you made your coffee and it wasn't to your standard, you can do two things. One, you can waste it and make another one. The second option is to drink it as is. So in both of those two scenarios, one way is the one way you choose and the other way is the other way you choose, right? But the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So let's look at these two things. One scenario is, I don't like my coffee, I'm going to redo it until I get it right. You look at this, look at this and apply this to people it's easier to look at other people and kind of say, okay, I see this people and I see this person is doing that and that and that, and kind of like, look at things from a bird eye. So you can look at your your network and kind of see those things. So if you'll have one person that like his coffee perfect and will not drink anything other than that, that same person is usually going to apply the same thing and the same logic in his in his work, in his love life, whatever, like spouse, whatnot, right? In his family, like dressing his kids, right? One parent will dress his kids perfectly. And the other will be like, it's okay, just throw a jacket and just get out of the house. So that's the other person, right? The other person that is willing to take the coffee as is no matter what. The standards here are a little lower. But it's not always about standards. It's not about that. It's about the ability to understand that people behave the same thing across everywhere and across whatever they do. So if you come to a scenario and you say, okay, I'm going to bring this to the agency life and our professional life of running businesses and different things of that sort. So if you look at your employee and you look at your team and you say, okay, this person is always late. Well, he's always going to be late to everywhere. He's going to be late to meetings. He's going to be late for deliveries. He's going to be late for reports. He's going to be late for everything because that's the way he's doing that. That's the way his brain is wired. So on the other hand, you can see and you can look at a person that is always on time. He's always on time. He's always showing up in meeting 2 minutes ahead. That person is also going to have the same habits goes to other things that he's doing. He's going to show up on time. He's going to do the deliverables on time. He's going to do his fulfillment on time. He's going to do his part on time. And if he's not going to do that on time, you will see it and he's going to bring it to your attention because he's going to freak out. Right? I let go to somebody it was several months ago. And one of the reasons I let him go is that the guy was always late for the daily meetings. And remember, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So obviously for me, I understood that his timeline is completely whacked and he's just not going to deliver on time. So, I did the second thing, the second thing that I actually want to share with you from the movie. So let me play that clip.
And second chances.
Second chances are the refuge of men who fail.
All right, so second chances. Man, second chances is definitely something that we can talk about for a very long time. But let's take this again to our business life. Let's take this again to our professional life. So I'm going to share the same thing with that person I just shared. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give him a second chance. Am I a great believer of second chance? No, I'm not. Absolutely not. Like, you can show me 100 cases that you or anybody else has a second chance and they actually took it and was able to blossom and was able to prosper from that second chance. In 97%, at least that's my opinion, 97%, maybe even more, second chances are a flop. So that employee that I had was always late, right? So then he had a deadline to deliver something. So I was like, hey, you have to deliver that and that deadline. And what do you think happened? Like obviously he was, he got delayed. So, I had a conversation with him and yada, 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 and I gave him a second chance, right? Like the reason I say this with quotes is because while I gave him a second chance and I gave him the option to really come out of this situation as a winner, I knew for a fact he's not going to be able to do it. And the reason I knew for a fact he wasn't going to be able to do it brings me back to what we started with, which is the NLP saying that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And I knew that I'm not going to be the one that is actually going to change his behavior and is going to change his life. And now all of a sudden he's going to show up on time and he's going to be, like changing his ways in order to make the companies happy. So I gave him that second chance because that's also my, I feel this is also my obligation as a human being, as an employer. So I gave him the second chance. And then once he didn't deliver to the second chance, I had to let him go. So, it's kind of like a yellow card and then you got a red card. So it's really interesting to understand that all of those things are actually playing a really big role in our life. And I want you to implement those to your business. I want you to implement those to your everyday life. And I want you to look at those things and say, well, if so-and-so have been doing this, analyze it, have been doing this, this is how he's going to do the same thing across everywhere he's going to do things for me or whatever. So, and if you understand this, it makes things a whole lot easier to work with people because you can anticipate, you can predict what people are actually going to do because they give you those hints. They tell you, hey, I'm doing this thing the way, this way. So another thing will be done in the same manner. So I want you to apply those things to your everyday, and you can see how things like that will actually help with the day-to-day and understanding your team, your personnel, your friends, your network, whomever it is, because everybody is the same. We're all wired the same. And if you understand the logic of things, you'll be able to predict how to talk to the people. And that's another thing that I hope you'll get out of this today. So this can help you to manage your everyday. It's going to help you to manage your task and your personnels and your network because now you know how to predict them. Okay. So without going into much into that, have an amazing day. Hopefully this is helpful for you. See you the next time.